What's going on, everybody? Welcome to After Prison Show, and today is day number 17 of our 20-day prison story marathon. We took yesterday off. Yesterday was Labor Day. I do hope everybody did enjoy their Labor Day weekend, and you did enjoy the content that we had uploaded over the weekend. But today we're back on track with our prison stories. We're going to be wrapping up this prison story marathon this week, and I do hope all of you have been enjoying these prison stories thus far, and I hope today's prison story is no exception either. Because in this video, I'm going to be telling you guys a prison story about the funniest damn prison fight that I ever saw while locked up. PB, I told you only want to do nothing but use me for my coffee. I ain't giving you nothing else. What you talking about, Ernie? Talking about how to use you for your coffee. You ain't got nothing. You just a little crack monster motherfucker from the mountain. I'm a crack monster. Look at you, motherfucker. Now, you got to imagine that while locked up, you are definitely going to see a lot of fights. Hell, you may even get in a lot of fights your damn self. And when you think about fights that take place in prison, funny is probably the last thing that comes to mind when thinking about those. You probably think violent. You probably think bloody, gory, someone getting stabbed, jumped, stomped out, beaten to a bloody pulp, possibly even within an inch of their life. So again, funny may not exactly be the first thing that comes to mind with what you would associate with a fight that takes place in prison. However, I do have to assure you that while locked up, you could easily see some pretty funny fights. And I got to tell you that throughout all of the time that I spent locked up myself, I most certainly saw quite a few pretty damn funny fights, including this fight that I'm about to tell you about right now. This funniest fight that I ever saw while locked up took place at the very last prison I was at, this infamous place that I've talked about so much here, called Indian Creek. This fight was between two older black fellas. Both of these guys were in their 50s or maybe even like later 50s. I'm not exactly sure how old they were. All I know about these guys is they were kind of old. And real quick, anybody 50 plus in prison automatically got a nickname, Old Head. Hey, Old Head, how long you gonna be in that microwave warming up that hair grease? Why are you even warming up hair grease in the microwave anyways? But one of these guys was nicknamed CB and the other guy's name was Ernie. I'm not sure if Ernie was his real name. Pretty sure Ernie was his real name. I know he had a nickname, but I can't for the life of me remember what that was. Now the crazy thing about it is I drew a caricature of Ernie while locked up, but I have no idea where that's at. I've looked for it and I cannot find it. And I really wish I had that caricature so I could give you guys a better visual idea of just what Ernie looked like. But because I don't, I'm going to try to paint the picture the best way that I can, describing both of these two individuals involved in this funny damn fight. And I'm going to start with CB. Now, CB was short for Charlie. I don't want to put his last name out there, but Charlie was his first name. Oh, Charlie! Hey, old Charlie, what you doing over there, CB? A local native and prison OG, but a guy who had spent most of his damn life locked up in prison. In fact, this guy had done multiple stints and bids inside of prison. Now, I know I'm no one to talk about this myself, considering I've been to prison twice myself, but I want to say that CB had been to prison something like 4 different times. That's 4 different state numbers, 4 different times that he spent years of his life in prison. And this guy had been to every damn prison in the state of Virginia. CB was the kind of guy who thought he knew everything, and a big reason why he thought he knew everything, and this is going to make absolutely no sense whatsoever, but a big reason for that was because he had spent so much of his damn life locked up. How does that make any sense? How does that make you somebody who knows everything? And not only did CB claim to know everything, but he also claimed to know everybody. This guy thought of himself as some sort of old school gangster, getting money out there in the street. That's what I was doing, young, and I would get money out there in the street. Dude, your lips are so damn chapped, it looks like all you've ever done is smoking the crack. Well, with however much old CB claimed to know, or how many people CB claimed to know as well, I will say this about CB. He damn sure knew quite a few guards in this prison. In fact, a lot of the guards who worked at this prison knew old CB from the free world. Hey, old Charlie right there, what you doing telling that lie, telling them youngins you was getting money out there in the free world? You know damn well what you was doing. You weren't getting no damn money. In fact, you was spending that damn money on that crack rock monster one time. CB tell them people the truth. The crazy damn thing about it is anytime a guard would come and give CB some conversation, or as it's called in prison, some kick it, CB would light up and glow like a kid on Christmas. He knows me from the free world. And you know, I'm a pretty observant type of individual, so I would see this. I would see CB sitting here talking with these guards. I would see how he would be glowing like a 16-year-old girl on prom night, about to give up the Junies. And I would just be sitting here watching this like, God damn, how does some conversation from a prison guard make you that damn happy? You know, a lot of things that you see in prison, they don't make any sense at all. But there's two other things that I got to tell you about old CB just to really try to emphasize this guy's character. The first one has to do with the way he wore one of those. You see that right back there in the background? That is a bona fide prison beanie. Color orange, just like you're gonna buy in prison. In fact, this actually came from prison. Can I borrow this? We good? I'm gonna borrow this real quick. Joe, you're going crazy talking to a globe wearing a wig. This right here is a very common thing inside of prison. You can order one of these off of commissary. These are nice for when it's cold outside, but these are also a prison accessory that a lot of guys wear and try to appear to be cool with. And in fact, being completely honest, this is something a lot of the times old Joe would wear himself. And I wear that old prison beanie, and just like that right there. And why am I talking like that? I don't know. But the way that I'm wearing this right here is the way a lot of guys in prison would wear this. I mean, there's many different ways guys would wear these. Some guys would actually take them and go like this with them and then put them up like this, just like so. I mean, that don't look bad either. Shit, I probably should have worn mine like this a lot more often. That actually looks really good. But CB wanting to be extremely different from any other prisoner, no, he would not wear his beanie any type of way that any other prisoner really would. And before I go ahead and show you how CB would wear this, I just want you to just imagine real quick in your mind before I tell you this, what do you think he would do with this beanie? No idea? Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and show you. Don't ask me why he would wear it like this, but this is how he would wear it. All day, every day, would not even put the damn beanie on. I guess you just have to be that rebellious in prison that you must take the prison beanie that they sell you on commissary and completely bypass any way any normal prisoner would wear the damn thing. So yeah, it was definitely really strange watching this guy CB walk around all day long with this beanie laying sideways on the top of his head. By the way, this guy also had a completely buffed floor shining bald head. And this is how he would wear that beanie on top of that Mr. Clean, bald, shiny head. But not only did CB have this extremely ridiculous style about himself while locked up, add to that, he had a pretty peculiar walk as well. Hey, Ernie, what you doing over there, Ernie? Ernie, come here, Ernie. Ernie. God, I feel like I nailed that walk. And between the way this guy wore his beanie on top of his head and the way he walked, this guy was silly as a motherfucker. Ernie, on the other hand, however, Ernie was a lot different. Ernie was probably mildly handicapped, to say the least. I'm not sure if this was something that he was born with or this was something that came from him also spending probably many years of his life smoking the crack. But even with that, and surprisingly, Ernie was a really solid dude. Ernie was definitely in his mid to late 50s, and when looking at this dude trying to describe what this guy looked like, I mean, he kind of reminded me of like a cracked out version of Darius Ruckers. Ernie also had an entirely different group of friends that he hung out with. CB, I can't even really remember who he hung out with. I want to say CB hung out with a lot of the local native crack monster dudes from the local area. But Ernie, on the other hand, hung out with some individuals that I've talked about here previously. Ernie's clique comprised of Old Coffee Man and a guy by the name of AKA the Serial Killer. So just try to imagine real quick this group of prisoners. You've got Coffee Man, a guy nicknamed Serial Killer, and the cracked out version of Darius Ruckers. You know, if those guys were ever to form a gang, I just wonder what that gang name would be. The CSKCMs. Coffee Man Serial Killers, Crack Monsters. Hey yo, you don't want to mess with those Coffee Man Serial Killer Crack Monsters. Them boys is crazy. But again, Ernie was a pretty cool dude. Ernie also had a hustle. This guy didn't have any money, really didn't have that great of a state job. I can't even remember what his actual job in prison was, but I do remember his hustle. And what his hustle was washing other prisoners' laundry. And what he would actually get paid to do a load of laundry for other prisoners would be either one single ramen noodle per wash and dry, maybe even folding that clothes as well, or one single cup of coffee for the same thing. Now there were prisoners, and I want to say that I was one of these type of prisoners, who would hire Ernie on a monthly basis. And what that would mean is instead of giving him one single ramen noodle or a single cup of coffee, I would just give him an entire bag of coffee, and then he would wash my laundry for me for the entire month. So with the fact that Ernie had a prison hustle, I mean, he was doing okay for himself. He wasn't going hungry because he had soups to eat, and he didn't go without coffee because he was also being paid coffee as a part of his prison hustle. But on the flip side of all of this, old CB walking around looking like he got a dick in the booty type of guy with that beanie on sideways.
Hey, Ernie, what you doing over there, Ernie? Ernie, come here, Ernie. Ernie.
He ain't have no prison hustle. In fact, what his prison hustle was to walk around and ask other prisoners for things. Young blood, hey, young blood, you got a shot of some mud? No bullshit, this guy would ask me for cups of coffee. I would have my lockers open, sitting at my bunk area. Both lockers open. Foot locker, wall lockers, slam filled with commissary, 20 bags of coffee showing. And I'd tell old CB, as I'm eating my honey bun with my cup of coffee in hand, ain't no coffee over here for you, boss. That's some good coffee. Ernie had a hustle. CB, he begged. That was his hustle. This guy legitimately panhandled in prison. Now, the crazy thing about it is CB and Ernie, they were kind of like prison friends, using the term as loosely as you possibly could. Because what it really boiled down to was old CB using old Ernie for the things that he would work his ass off to have while locked up. CB was ultimately only Ernie's friend because of the fact that he could go get coffee from him anytime he wanted, go get a soup or 2 or 3 from him anytime he wanted, and obviously and assuredly, if that's even a word, CB would never pay Ernie back. And you know, I'm reminded of one other pretty interesting fact leading up to all of this, and that is that CB really had a peculiar time in which he liked to have conversations with Ernie. And what I mean by that is CB would only really want to conversate with Ernie either A, when he wanted something, coffee or ramen noodles, or B, whenever CB was getting out of the shower, walking back to his bunk area in his little underoos, one pair of underoos like old Yanni told you about, an AC ball, and if you remember what an AC ball means, it's kind of like you're soliciting yourself inside of prison. But CB would only really want to talk to Ernie while sitting there in that AC ball and putting lotion all over his damn body right after getting out of the shower. CB would sit there in his bunk area putting that lotion all over his body.
Hey, Ernie, come on over here, Ernie. Come on over here. Let's have a little talk. While I put this lotion all over my body. Ernie, put this lotion on my back for me.
You know, I'm pretty sure CB was after a lot more than just coffee and ramen noodles with Ernie. But after a good little while, Ernie would finally come to the realization that old CB was just using him. And Ernie got pretty pissed off when he realized that this person that he thought was his prison friend really wasn't that at all and was just trying to use him to get coffee or soups. So when Ernie finally did come to this realization, he said that he was no longer going to support CB's prison crack habit. And by the way, a little FYI, prison crack is a slang term for coffee. Because I have to assure you that some guys in prison act like coffee is crack and act like crackheads to get them some of this coffee. In fact, I can remember a time vividly where I watched the guy just eat instant coffee right out of his hand. He poured it right in his hand. Dude, that's some good shit. You really haven't experienced life until you've seen the extremities to which certain prisoners will go just to get them a cup of coffee. But again, Ernie finally reached the point where he said he was not going to give CB anything else. And then what do you know, right after he says this, old CB comes hobbling around the corner.
Hey, Ernie, what you doing over there, Ernie? Ernie, come here, Ernie.
And Ernie didn't just tell CB that he wasn't going to give him a coffee or anything else for that matter. In fact, Ernie basically told the entire housing unit,
I ain't giving you nothing else, CB. You just want to use me for all my stuff.
Because, you know, the entire housing unit knew that CB was just using Ernie. And once Ernie realized this himself, he told anyone within earshot just how he was going to handle this situation. And as soon as Ernie broadcast that to the entire housing unit in CB's direction, this was received by CB obviously not so well. CB sat there looking dumbfounded for a moment. But then from there, these two immediately began to exchange words. They started arguing right there because CB was basically put on blast by Ernie as he broadcast this to the entire housing unit.
CB, I told you only want to do nothing but use me for my coffee. I ain't giving you nothing else. What you talking about, Ernie? Talking about how to be using you for your coffee. You ain't got nothing. You just a little crack monster motherfucker from the mountain. I'm a crack monster. Look at you, motherfucker. Your lips more chapped than you been sucking on a goddamn bottle of baby powder. Oh, that's it, goddamn Ernie. You want to talk about it like that?
And from there, things escalated into the funniest damn fight I had ever seen while locked up. Now, both of these guys had absolutely zero fight game whatsoever. Have you ever seen like two people fight who can't fight and they're just flailing arms? They're just like... There were parts of this fight that looked like some mildly aggressive foreplay. And to be honest with you, that might actually be what old CB was actually going for. I mean, shit, this was his perfect opportunity to get his hands all over Ernie. We do remember that old CB liked to talk to Ernie, especially after he had gotten out of the shower in his underoos, that little AC bowl, while putting lotion all over his body. But even with all of that and me being the stand-up type of prisoner that I am, you probably would imagine that Joe would get up and try to break up these two mildly autistic prisoners from this little softcore scene that they were putting on right here in front of the entire housing unit. And if you think that I did that, if you think that I was that stand-up prisoner who stopped this mildly suggestive act that was taking place right there in the housing unit, no. I didn't. In fact, what I was doing while this was taking place, just to be completely honest with you, I was laying in the floor, rolling around like I was on fire, laughing hysterically. Look at these two idiots. They're fighting over a fucking cup of coffee. I almost have tears in my eyes thinking about this. It was the funniest damn thing I ever saw in my life. And if you think the police or the guards came in there and broke this up, you are absolutely right. In fact, one of CB's many prison guards who knew him from the free world, CB, tell them people the truth, you just nothing but a crack monster out there in the free world. One of them guards that old CB knew came in there, broke these two up. What'd you do? Goddamn, what you stupid motherfuckers, just stop it! The guard came in there, broke this up, and neither one of these guys got in any trouble for this. Because as the guard came in there to break this up, saw what the commotion was about, saw who it involved, I mean, this guard damn near pissed himself with laughter, just as I almost did, and pretty much the rest of the housing unit did as well. So, you know, that might not actually be a bad thing. You know, if you get in a fight in prison and it turns out to be like the funniest damn fight that anybody's ever seen, there is the slight possibility that you might not get in any damn trouble for it. But that's not exactly something I would recommend you trying to do. You know, fighting is just a part of being locked up. Egos, testosterone, a bunch of dudes, everybody feeling like they're the tough guy. And sometimes what those fights are over may seem like the dumbest damn things. As in this case, when old Ernie and CB fought over a damn cup of coffee. And as crazy as what that fight was because of, it was damn near piss your pants hilarious. Hey, look, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did so, please leave a like and a comment. Let's see if we can get this video to 1 million likes. I know that'll never happen, but I just felt like throwing that out there. As always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted, nor ever find yourself in a situation where you have to fight behind something as stupid as a cup of coffee. And make the most of every day. Peace!